Today we're going to start a project of replacing all the lumber in the trailer. The last time I did this trailer, it was about 15 years ago. Bought brand new with untreated lumber. It lasted for a few years, and then I had to replace it back then, so I'm gonna have to do it again. I've treated this stuff several times, but it hasn't held up too well because I park it under the trees a lot during the winter, so it gets a lot of leaves and tree limbs on it, and of course it holds a lot of rain. Usually I've got plants growing in here. So anyway, we're gonna get started on this. I've got to take a whole bunch of bolts out, and should be good to go. I've got the trailer jacked up and on jack stands. Just give me a little bit of room to roll around underneath with my creeper, because I put these on with bolts and nuts last time I installed the new flooring. So they're stainless steel bolts, stainless steel nuts. It should run off pretty easy, but I'm gonna go ahead and spray them all down with a little bit of WD-40, just something to loosen them up a little bit. I'm gonna run through that and I'll be back with you later. Roll through here and start taking all these nuts off of here. Shouldn't take too long. Now I need to pull up this front strap here that I have on my boards laid down on. Got one's giving me a little bit of problem, but we're gonna pry it up and take care of it. The last time I did this, put the flooring in, I went ahead and cut this top strap off. It really tacked in the corners. Cut it off and just put it back down with bolts. Didn't really need to tack it back and link up a weld, so makes it easier for doing this again 15 years later. So that's where we're at on this. All right, set this strap aside. We'll have to do the rest of this for these other bolts. So far I've taken all the fasteners out, the old fasteners, the old rotted boards, and I began scraping along the edges of the L angle to get a lot of the heavy rust off. Now I'm going to hit it with a .co sander or 90-degree sander. I'm a sheet metal guy by trade, so we always call it a .co. Hit that, sand it down a little bit, and I'll probably come back with a little bit of black paint just to kind of seal off that rust, kind of keep it from corroding any further quicker, that is. And then we'll start getting those new boards on. Alright, I think that's it for tonight. I'm going to call it a day, and I'll get back on this job tomorrow. Not much more to do. I think the biggest thing is going to be getting the fasteners put in tomorrow. I got to buy some of those at the store and get them all sunk in. Probably have to rip one of the boards in the center to make it fit. Otherwise, it looks pretty decent. Let this dry out over several weeks, maybe a few months, and then go ahead and put some type of sealer on there. Most likely it's going to be, I don't know, some type of rubber type, or I might just go with motor oil again, but I don't know. I was thinking about trying out some rubber sealant to put on there. We'll see how that goes. Anyway, y'all take care. All right, it's day 2 of our project. Just got the boards put in yesterday, and today I will be go ahead and installing the rest of these boards. Probably have to rip one of them down in the middle, but I'm going to start laying out some lines for the center lines for the cross members, so I can drill into those. Just kind of give me a little bit of reference point.
Black sunrise, fall into the shadows again. You can't hide, it follows you right to the end. A disguise, but it's so hard to pretend. It's so hard to pretend. Wake inside of a broken dream so hollow, like a vision seen through borrowed eyes. Hear no sound, like a bitter pill to swallow. A forgotten will keeps bearing down. Take off the mask, leave it all in the past, and the truth is that you already.
Now, one thing I did want to mention, I took some of these big old bar clamps and put them on, just kind of smash everything together, kind of get it tight fitting. Eventually the wood's going to dry out enough that there are going to be some gaps in here, but if I get it as tight as possible, I won't have the real wide gaps for later on and stuff falling through. So that's where I'm at on that. Now I'll do the other side later once I get this side done, and then we'll go ahead and get all that fastened in. All right, so I got most of the boards in. Just got it get get them all tight fitting, and then I'll measure out that center board and then rip down a 2x4 to put it in there. But right now I'm going through and just go ahead and marking out my locations for my screws. And I've already started to put a few screws in here just to see how well it's going to work with these type of screws I have here. Got here these wood and metal screws. So far doing pretty good. This one here got a little burnt, but I'm going to go ahead and drill out into the frame and then go ahead and sink a screw in there. Did a few of them down here already, as you can see. They went pretty easy, not too bad. I started drilling through the wood and into the metal L angle. Didn't really need to. Might go through a few batteries, but other than that, I think it's going to be fine once I get things going here. Give me a little pattern going. I'm not going to bore you with all this. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and start putting all these screws in here. And once I get down to the point where I'm going to do this center board, I'll come back in and do a little measuring and rip it and get it sunk in. That might be another day. Well, I didn't get as much done as I wanted to. I didn't get a chance to rip this centerpiece. I did clamp all these boards to the side of the trailer with some bar clamps, and I was able to actually get a nice good snug fit against each side rail. So when I go to do the measurements, it should be fairly equal all the way down, hopefully. I did sink a few screws here and there just to keep everything in place and keep everything in line until I get a chance to finish doing the rest of the screws. So it's gonna be a little bit of a project because I don't have as much time as I would like to have to do these things. So I'll catch you next time around. All right, the next thing I got to do is just go ahead and measure this gap on this trailer flooring project. Got one more board to rip. Let me that 2x4. They're 16 foot long. I'll go ahead and take several measurements throughout the length of the board. I'll figure out what I need to take off. It shouldn't be too much. I haven't measured it yet, but I will do that here shortly. Wish me luck. Hopefully I cut it right. If not, I have to use a wall armor on it with the sweater. So let's just see how that does. Last board in there got ripped down through the variable sizes. It was about 2 3/4 at the very end of the trailer, and then about 3 1/4 up here at the top of the trailer. Now we gotta get that strap right here put back in. I have to grind off or trying to punch out these screws. Hopefully I can just knock them out. Go ahead and put that strap back on. Go ahead and just scuff it up a little bit, maybe paint it before I put it back on. But it's gonna go right here at the top of the trailer. And I just back drill the holes in the flooring that's in the actual frame, and then I'll go ahead and salvage some of my old bolts and nuts and then mount this strap back at the front. Should be a fairly quick project on that part. The biggest thing is putting the rest of these screws in the trailer bed, so that's going to be fun, and not looking forward to it, but have to use my impact gun to do that. Actual well, the bed of the trailer's done now for the most part, with the exception of the strap I got to put at the very top, and I'll do that later on when I get a chance. Then I'm gonna double check everything, make sure everything is snug down, and we'll be good.